Before the blessing, I want to make one more introduction. Just preceding our reception tonight, we celebrated the military promotion of Ryan M. O'Keefe, VTCSOM Class of 2017, graduating from the Health Professions Scholarship Program, the primary source of trained health professionals entering the United States Armed Forces. I am proud to announce that Ryan O'Keefe, soon to be Captain O'Keefe, will be doing his residency in internal medicine at the Eisenhower Army Medical Center, Fort Gordon, Georgia. Ryan, please stand. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. N.L. Bishop, President of Jefferson College of Health Sciences and the VTCSOM Chair of our Department of Interprofessionalism, to come forward and give a blessing. Just let me say that VTCSOM is the first and still only medical school in the country to have a Department of Interprofessionalism. Also, to have interprofessionalism as one of our 4 value domains, our term for our school's foundational elements that are integrated into the curriculum throughout all 4 years. At a time when patients are concerned about physicians' communication skills, when the ethics of medicine are so challenging, when chronic disease management requires skilled teamwork, the Department of Interprofessionalism is the home for our faculty who teach in this aspect of our curriculum and oversee the combined courses where nursing students, physician assistant students, and medical students learn these concepts and practice these skills together. NL?
Thank you so much, Dr. Johnson. I'm so honored to be a part of your team. Let's pray together. Almighty God, on this beautiful spring evening, we pause and give you thanks as we have gathered in this place in a spirit of joy and of celebration that is indeed built to last. We're here to recognize those before us who have completed studies and the rigorous requirements of our Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. We thank you for this nurturing school, for all of these students, the leadership, the faculty, and all those who in so many ways work to support this excellent community of learning. Be with us now in this recognition of these candidates as the work they have undertook and completed is culminating in the high moments of this evening, and yes, also on Saturday morning as we celebrate their success. And now, as we continue in our celebration, we ask that you would bless this meal, the sharing, the joy, and all that we do in nurturing our human needs this evening. And we ask that you would continue to nurture our spirits with your divine truth and your guidance. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
So I have a special honor this evening. As many of you know, Dr. Bruce Johnson, who's the Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs, is retiring from that position and will be taking up a full-time position as a internist, a clinical internist in our general internal medicine program. I know many of you know Bruce, but I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you and giving you a little more information about Bruce. And then we have a special presentation for Bruce, and Dr. Sid Smith is going to be doing the heavy lifting on that. A little bit of background on Bruce. Bruce went to undergraduate at Stanford and medical school at UCLA. After training and all that stuff, he became a faculty member at the University of Kansas, followed by a stint at the University of Iowa. And I got to know him at East Carolina University, where we recruited him into our general medicine program. And I'll tell you that Bruce is someone I would call an internist's internist. He is Sir William Osler. He's the guy that I went to when I didn't know what might be going on with a patient, or when I had a particular difficult problem and I needed someone with a few more gray hairs than I had at the time, and he did have a few more gray hairs than I had at the time, to give me some guidance. At his various postings, Bruce has served as Section Chief of General Internal Medicine, Residency Program Director for Internal Medicine, Associate Chair of Medicine, and here as our Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs. In other words, Bruce has been an academic soldier of fortune, parachuting into whatever war zone we needed him to parachute into and deal with whatever needed to be dealt with there. However, he's always had the good sense not to be a dean. And I originally thought I was going to include and a department chair until I learned just this evening that he spent 3 months as an interim chair of the Department of Medicine. Bruce, I didn't know that, and I'm pleased that I discovered that, and I'll use it in the future. A few other background items about Bruce. And by the way, I'm very disappointed that I couldn't uncover any embarrassing photographs of Bruce. So for that, I will refer you to the dean. So I don't have any embarrassing things to say, but I do have some interesting things to say. Bruce is the only colleague that I've ever worked with who was a card-carrying member of the United Farm Workers of America. And Bruce, if I get this wrong, I apologize, but I believe that was the Mellon Division. Is that right? In addition, Bruce is, and I'm sure that only a small number of people in the audience know this, a co-owner of a fairly large almond orchard, farm, ranch, whatever it is in California that continues to produce almonds. So you can, whenever you have your almond milk, you can thank Bruce for that. As I mentioned, Bruce has been our Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs, and in that role, as I read from our website, he is responsible for issues of faculty governance and the administration of the school's appointment, promotion, and tenure processes. So let me tell you what that means, and let me tell you what it meant roughly 10 years ago when we were getting this gig off the ground. It's basically creating a faculty of a medical school where no faculty, no school had existed before. Now, those of you who have been in academic medicine may instantly recognize the conundrum here, but let me explain that. Convention is that faculty are appointed by other faculty. So the process is you're reviewed, you're appointed, it's a referral to the dean who may choose to approve that or not approve that, and then to the governing body. At the time we were here, beginning in 2007 and roughly until 2011, when we really kicked off the school, we had no faculty. So who appoints our faculty? How did that occur? Well, Bruce was responsible for this. And I'm going to share with you a dirty little secret. The only solution was there was about 8 of us that got in a room together. We sat around a table, we looked at one another, we raised our right hands, we swore ourselves in, and we appointed ourselves. That's my story, I'm sticking to it. And from that point on, we figured out how to continue to appoint the faculty and create all the rules that govern our appointments, our promotions, and other actions. And I will say, all of that process was shepherded in wonderful fashion by Bruce Johnson. So the fact that we have faculty appointments here, the fact that we now have actions such as promotion, tenure actions, and the fact that we'll be doing that now in a fashion that's consistent with the great university, Virginia Tech, that the school is joining, is largely due to Bruce. So Bruce, thank you. And in closing, I just really want to say thanks to a great colleague, a great friend. I know you're not going anywhere, so we'll continue to have great conversations. But I will share with the audience that we all deserve to give Bruce a great deal of thanks for the work that's been done in creating the school and moving us forward. Thank you, Bruce.
Well, let me say, first of all, it's a real pleasure to be here, chairing the board and reading about the class as you come in and how things are going is one thing. But to meet you personally, class of 2017, has been very, very special for me. So I congratulate you and thank you for the opportunity to be here. And that, in fact, is why we are here primarily. And that is to honor the class of 2017, think a little bit about the students who have come before and those that will follow. But there is one person from that community that we do need to recognize, and that is Bruce Johnson. You're retiring from your role as Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs, and I want to reassure you that I did not come to roast you. The roasting's over. I came to toast you. And I want to point out that your title doesn't have students as part of it. But beyond what you've done with the faculty, we see reflected in those decisions what has happened with the students. So, to a sense, you have been the driving force of culture here in Roanoke as the school developed through your work with the faculty and their impact on the students. And we've heard mentioned that when you came here, there was no faculty. Of course, there were physicians in the community, teachers that some were working at Virginia Tech, others at the Jefferson College, but the whole idea of a medical school centrally located in Roanoke was an unfulfilled dream. So building that from the ground, I think, is a challenging task, and we've heard about what you went through from recruiting people to be on the faculty to developing the structure that supports the scholarly activities. And to that end, I can put some numbers on what you've said. The faculty has gone from 0 to 754. I think that reflects some of the energy that you get when you have Bruce Johnson working on a project. But I think the other thing are the strategies initiated under your tenure, and that is that the recruiting of faculty always can involve a certain bias among those that are involving in the recruitment. And to do that in a way that is not conscious of issues and in a truly unbiased platform, and particularly working on the development that we have faced in increasing the minorities and underserved populations. Bruce, you have been a champion there, and although we've made progress, this is a central focus for the board here, both in the students and the faculty and the staff at Virginia Tech Carilion, that we do have a truly representative group of people working together in this medical school. One of the quotes from Karen Sanders is that Bruce has shown tremendous support for diversity and inclusion efforts, especially among the faculty, totally on board in bringing faculty, staff, and students together in a way that improves teaching, learning, and the working environment. So you have brought that into the recruitment of over 700 faculty, and I think we see that reflected in our students. You've also been instrumental in the domain days, and you've been the LACE preceptor, and the implementation of digital measures, faculty online information management services. Dr. David Musick, who will transition into Bruce's position, and I say is probably already wondering about what the shoe size must be in order to fill Bruce's shoes. He says he's found Bruce to be a valuable mentor who's given me guidance and advice on many occasions, wonderful person, and a skilled, compassionate physician. But beyond that, have always been impressed with his eternal optimism and cheerful spirit. And you know, when you come in to be the person who is building faculty and the number of faculty there is 0, you've got to be pretty optimistic and cheerful. So Bruce, you are really the consummate professional and role model for those of us that have the opportunity to know you and work with you, and certainly that's been my experience as chairman of the board. I'd like you to come up here now. We have something to present you with. Now, this is a small token of what we're going to give you. This is a chair. Now, we have the real chair, which is, you'll be able to sit in the real chair, Bruce. It's coming in the future. And I can't thank you enough for your service, even though you're stepping down from your role as in the dean's office. We're absolutely thrilled that you're going to remain on, and I'm sure that we'll benefit from your expertise and wisdom as a medical educator and also as a physician. So with warm thanks for everything you've done, and a personal note that I hope that you and I will have a chance to continue to work together. Thank you.
So I will take the opportunity. For those of you who were wondering, Dr. Whatley is right. It was for those of you who were listening, Dr. Whatley, who is my friend and has been my boss at more than a couple of occasions, was right. It was local P78B, Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Workers, Amalgamated Meat Cutters and Poultry Pluckers, United Farm Workers, AFL-CIO. And I was a shop steward. Anyway. This is a surprise. I was not told that this was going to happen. I really appreciate the kind words from both Dr. Whatley and Dr. Smith. It is really what is so wonderful about having worked with the faculty is that we have been able to develop faculty to be able to teach and work with our students. This is a night for our students. This weekend is a weekend for our students. And being faculty and being able to have worked with our, developing our faculty at the VTC School of Medicine is so treasured by so many of us because we have the opportunity of interacting with our students. I do appreciate the words that were said. This, again, is a surprise. I didn't have anything planned to say. But I do appreciate the recognition, but recognizing that the faculty are here for a lot of reasons, but primarily because we are here because we want to teach our students. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to introduce two very special people representing not only our signature sponsors tonight, but the public-private partnership which made the Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine and Research Institute possible, are the leaders of Carilion and Virginia Tech, President and CEO Nancy Agee and President Tim Sands. Nancy and Tim will speak with tonight's theme, Built to Last.
Good evening. Good evening. What a pleasure it is to be here. I sort of look forward now to the end of the year because we've gotten to know so many of you, and it's a celebration that we want to be a part of. When Dean Johnson asked me to say a few words, she said, "Our theme tonight is built to last." And I thought, what does that mean? And the words that came to mind for me are strength, endurance, resilience. And if you look in your pamphlet tonight, your program, you see it right in the middle of the fold, built to last. And your pillars, leadership, knowledge, wisdom, compassion, honor, character, and strength. I can't help but think back, a few years. And folks said, we want a health system headquartered in Roanoke that's exceptional, that has extraordinary care, that has the best and the brightest. So you don't have to go anyplace else for fantastic care. And we said, okay, we can do that. And we did it, and we're doing it. And then we said we want to be a part of the future. We want to help create the future. We want research that's significant and important and part of the global community of research in biomedical areas. And together, Virginia Tech and Carilion said, okay, we can do that. And we did it, and we're going to keep doing it. And then we said, we want our legacy to be healthcare professionals of the future. We want a medical school, not just any medical school. We want a medical school that's first rate in every respect, that has incredible faculty, that has the cream of the crop students, not just brainiacs, and you all are, but people with a love and a heart for humankind. And we said together, okay, we can do that. And we did it, and you're the proof of it. You are the manifestation of our collective hopes and dreams. There are people in this room tonight who are part of that. We're strong. We can do that. And I just want to thank, there's lots of people in the room, our faculty, community support, particularly our board chair, James Hartley, is here with his wife, Judy, who had that vision, who had those hopes and dreams. And to see you tonight, wow, it makes such a difference to us. We couldn't be more proud. But I'll have this to say, don't go gentle into that good night. Be strong. You are the future of healthcare. And we're going to be right here, enduring, resilient, and cheering you on. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Nancy. It's been a real pleasure for me. I've been with Virginia Tech and VTC for 3 years now, so I'm kind of new to this game, but it has been the most transformative experience to see a large public institution and a private entity, two different sectors, come together and find this synergy that's so special. And this is really the highlight of the year, to celebrate our graduates. And so I feel honored to be here, and it's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. The theme of Built to Last, although I thought of trucks and, was it Peterbilt or Ford or something, but it really resonated. It really struck a chord for me as a president of Virginia Tech and as a partner in the VTC project. Virginia Tech's been around for about 145 years. And one of the things I love about Virginia Tech is the feeling you get on the drill field that transcends history. You walk onto the drill field, and it didn't happen immediately to me, but after a period of months, I started to realize that I was actually seeing the whole history of that institution every time I walked onto the drill field. The culture of service with PROSM, the research that we do for the public good, not just to be a great university and get all the accolades for discovering this and discovering that, but really thinking about it in a context of what is best for the public. And the work that we do in economic development, which really extends back to the Morrill Act of 1862, and it's really ingrained in everything we do as a university. So that's been around for, as I said, 145 years. I think, though, about a decade ago, I wasn't here, but I've learned the history, and I'm part of it now. This partnership with Carilion Clinic is also being built to last. There's no question about that. Every conversation we've had over the last 3 years has been about how are we going to make this really last? Not just for the next year, but let's do something that transcends our time at our institutions. Let's do something that is going to be 25 years, 50 years, hopefully 100 years out there. And so it's been, although it seems to some of us very fast in developing, in other ways it's been very slow and methodical and careful. And so I'd like to thank, while on that note, everybody here who's been involved in the evolution of the School of Medicine and also the Research Institute and its future as Virginia Tech Carilion, which is much bigger, I think, than the medical school or the Research Institute. I think that is going to be built to last, and it is being built to last, and it's very exciting. Last week, we had on the drill field the Corps of Cadets change of command. I don't know if you've seen that. Some of you have participated in that. If you've never seen it before, you've got to come and see it some April or early May, depending on the calendar, where we celebrate about 300 graduates of the Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets. And we're sending them off to service. 3/4 of them will be commissioned. The other quarter are in our citizen leader track and are going off to work for the federal government, for big corporations, as global ethical leaders. And this is very special to us, this time when we're sending off 300 people to be servant leaders in this world. And I think of this moment, this weekend, the same way with our Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine grads, that we are really sending you off to be servant leaders in our communities around the country, and in some cases around the world. It's the same feeling I get when we ship off the Corps. We're shipping you off to really change the world, and it sounds trite, but you're equipped to do it. And every time I get a chance to meet one of our brainiacs, I discover, not surprisingly, because I know this, and it's part of what was built to last, is this sense of a bigger purpose that our graduates have. You know, I had great opportunity to talk with Cassie and with Sarah here at our table. And of course, you know, they have a big view of the world and big aspirations. But bottom line is they're here to serve, and they're going to take all of the talents that the faculty gave to them that helped them develop, and their natural talents, and they're gonna have an impact on health and our communities. So I'd like to thank this class on its way out. You'll always be graduates of VTC, always be connected to the community of Roanoke, and you'll always be Hokies. So thank you very much, and I'm excited to see where you go.
That was a different experience. Next up, our multimedia presentation entitled Built to Last. You guessed it. The class of 2017 was the 4th class to be admitted to VTC SOM. As medical school is a 4-year undertaking, this meant that with the entry of the class of 2017, we had a full house, all 4 classes present, as it would be from then on. At that moment, we were sure that our school would endure. It had been built to last. This year, we will be presenting 4 videos produced by our very own David Hungate. Where are you, David? And Allison Matheson. We know where she is. Is she here? She shouldn't be here. She is here. Allison Matheson just was home a few minutes ago, I think, with little Charlie, born just a week ago. And so I think that we should give a round of applause for David, Allison, and Charlie. We're going to introduce each of our videos by one of our deans that are presenting. Please come on up. And Matt Winston, Vice President of Alumni Relations for Virginia Tech. You guys are on.
Good evening. My name is Dan Harrington, and I'm the Vice Dean for Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. And I am one of those fortunate people that actually was here from the beginning, and it's been just an amazing journey, and so proud of the graduates that we have tonight. Before Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine was even an idea, Carilion had been involved in medical education for a number of decades through its residency programs. And residency programs are the graduate portion for doctors' training. When Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine opened its doors, the medical students who began their undergraduate training to become a doctor began to seek out the Carilion residents and fellows. Our curious medical students wanted to learn what it was like to be a resident, what are the best residencies, what careers should I consider, and they also wanted the support and guidance while they were learning medicine. The residents and fellows saw an opportunity to extend their hands to these medical students. The residents learned what it was like to teach medical students, and they began to have a connection to our university partner, Virginia Tech. Both students and residents have gained friends and colleagues through this relationship. Through the work of the class of 2017 and Carilion residents, a program was born to provide more formal mentorship between these two groups, and it is called Big Hokie, Little Hokie. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. You guys eating dessert? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you, and I want to speak particularly to the class of 2017 and officially welcome you as the newest alumni of the Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. Welcome to the Hokie family. You are joining tens of thousands of proud Virginia Tech alums who are scattered across the globe. One thing that makes Hokies unique is our commitment to service, as our president just mentioned. We live out our university's motto of Ut Prosim, that I may serve. The career path that you have chosen embodies that, and we look forward to the ways that you will serve your patients in the communities far and wide where you will live. You are part of a special group as the fourth class of graduates from the Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. You made a decision to come to a medical program in its relative infancy because you saw our diverse student body, you saw our focus on research, small classes, and its powerful reputation as a competitive program that matches its graduates into top residency programs. And even though you are the fourth and not the first class, you are still pioneers. For you are blazing trails and creating traditions for a growing group of young minds that will follow you forevermore. You had the bravery and the tenacity and the inquisitive nature within yourselves to know that this plunge into the unknown represented a chance for you to build upon something that is special and that is unique. That is the type of drive that is emblematic of what it means to be a Hokie. Virginia Tech alumni have possessed and demonstrated that ingenuity since this great institution was founded. And now you join a legion of individuals committed to a lifelong learning, to service to one another, and to inventing the future. That sense of service is no more evident than in the recent class gift effort that I learned of today. The amount of money that you raised, the dollar amount, is important to you, I'm sure. But the fact that you had 100% participation across your class sets the bar of expectations high for all of our classes and for all of our student cohorts across the entire university community. Virginia Tech and Carilion took a chance and invested in the promise of the future of this state through each of you. And I am grateful that you took a chance and invested in the experiences imagined and brought to fruition by Carilion and by Virginia Tech. So as you begin your next chapter, please stay in touch. As alumni, we need you to remain connected and engaged. Graduation is not the end, it is but the beginning, and there's more your alma mater can give to you. And as alumni, you can give back to your school as well. I'm pleased that several members of the Virginia Tech Alumni Association Board of Directors have joined us to support and welcome each of you. Among them, Dr. Carol Pratt, who is a friend of the program and who is our current and outgoing president of the board. Mr. Mark Lawrence, who is our incoming president of the board and who works for Carilion. And Matt Joy, one of yours, a member of the inaugural class of the Virginia Tech, Carilion School of Medicine. You have demonstrated that sense of service, and we will see evidence of that in the videos that we will get to see about how powerful the story and the promise of mentorship is, and what that means for you individually and what that means for those who you will serve. Finally, as alumni, and as the president says, as Hokie alumni, because that's how I think of you, we were happy as an alumni association to present to each of the class members a little VT lapel pin as a remembrance of their experience, and I hope that each one of you will treasure and honor it in the spirit that it was given. So I thank you for allowing me to participate with you tonight. Congratulations and good luck to each of you, and I want every member of the class of 17 to hear what I'm about to say and embrace it as part of who you are, and that is, go Hokies. Thank you.
You just can't do it alone. Between families and friends, faculty and staff, patients and classmates, it takes hundreds, if not thousands of people to help you get from admission to graduation. But the class of 2017 has made it a bit easier with a mentorship program with residents at Carilion Clinic. Called Big Hokie, Little Hokie, this gives students a chance to feel their way through the inevitable questions, pitfalls, and opportunities as they become doctors. Listen as Class President Chris McLaughlin and Dr. Richard Ha talk about Big Hokie, Little Hokie.
I think one of the things that we recognized pretty early on in our medical school careers is that we have some really strong residents at Carilion Clinic. A lot of them really want to be mentors. So for us to find a way to kind of funnel them into the medical school and match them up and give them the opportunity to be mentors to medical students was the right thing to do. So I think one of the most helpful things that happened for our class, hopefully it's going to happen this year, was that the interview prep and CV workshop that you guys put together for us. That was amazing. I know a lot of people had their CVs looked over by the residents and they said, make sure you highlight this isn't as important, but that really helped with our own ERAS creations only a few months later. Yeah, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I really think this is going to give our students at least a little bit broader of an experience and more exposure to every field that they're interested in. And people will give them honest answers about it as well. And that's really going to help our career development.
Recognizing that you can't do it alone, the class of 2017, just this morning at the school's annual awards assembly, recognized one of the Big Hokie, Little Hokie founders. Dr. Bob Zempel is a resident at Carilion Roanoke Memorial Hospital. He says the reward is in helping students navigate the unfamiliar path to and through residency.
This is a good way for medical students to learn how to build relationships and understanding relationships not just with a mentor-mentee, but what that means in terms of building a relationship with patients and how far that goes. I think this program, when done right and with a good mentor, does an excellent job of teaching the value of what it means to have those kinds of relationships and how you can use those throughout your whole life to make sure that you're taking the best care of yourself and the best care of your patients.
Good evening. So as was mentioned earlier today, I have the best job in the world. I'm getting ready to I'm getting ready to introduce a video on relationships, and that word is the reason that I have the best job in the world. I get to work with, travel this journey with, watch in awe as you all achieve the great things that you have achieved. But there's a downside to this job, and it's happening this week. And that is, I have to say goodbye. But as I see out there Matt and Ashley and Tim and Josh, I don't have to say goodbye forever. So what I'm challenging you all is that we will do this every year, and I expect to see you back, okay? When this school was envisioned, the founders were pretty sure that the small class size and the small group learning would result in some intimacy such that deep relationships would naturally occur. I dare say they couldn't have imagined what has actually transpired. For the size of our school and the age of its students, we've had our share of some pretty significant illnesses and tragedies, both within the student body itself and among their close family and friends. It's during these difficulties that the depth of caring becomes evident. The ways in which our students have rallied around their classmates has been truly remarkable. While we may have seen these evidences of the depth of relationships during times of grief and suffering, where this depth of relationship has been more evident is in the frequency with which our students have found their life partner here. By my last count, there are 31 committed couples among our students and/or graduates. Think about it. We've not had that many students come through here, yet 62 of them have paired off. So I've had the honor of seeing the manifestations of these and other deep relationships among our students, and the class of 2017 is no different. To you, the class of 2017, I know leaving must be bittersweet as you reflect on the friendships and relationships you've formed here, those that will go in different directions and those that will go with you. The theologian and author Frederick Buechner said it best: "You can kiss your family and friends goodbye and put miles between you, but at the same time, you carry them with you in your heart, your mind, your stomach, because you do not just live in a world, but a world lives in you." I hope the world of VTC and Roanoke will continue to live in you. Know that you are and will always be a part of the world that lives in me.
For medical students, match day is when you match to a residency program, taking that next step in your medical career. But for many Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine students, they matched long before that. It seems they found their perfect match amongst their classmates.
We did, yeah, first year. Yep. We started hanging out and just things kind of went from there.
Yeah, you know, you get to know each other pretty well when it's a small class, and so we started sitting next to each other in class and just kind of started talking, and we went to the med school prom together first year.
3 couples from the class of 2017 are either married or engaged to be married. That's 15% of a class of 40. Add to that several 2017 classmates that are involved with other VTC students. That many relationships may seem odd, but when you think about it, these students have so much in common: interest, goals, ideals, and ambitions.
You know, I think obviously you get to know each other in small groups really, really quickly, and so you can quickly identify those folks that, you know, you really kind of jive with. And, you know, for Sean and I, we knew that we were very compatible, I think, from the very beginning, and it just kind of grew from there.
It's only natural that when a relationship grows, so too can your family. Med students Ben Stevens and Dylan Stansfield, along with their wives, started families. Nathan Johnson and his wife Jessica have been married for nearly 4 years. He matched with Carilion Clinic and will be a dermatology resident at Roanoke Memorial Hospital, the same hospital where the couple welcomed their new son Davis into the family just 4 days after match day.
Starting a family is a huge change. I'm glad to not have to embrace 20 changes all at once. And I think Roanoke just as a place is a good place to raise a family. Babies are probably pretty flexible, so these first years, that's not quite as important, but I think we'd like to stay here, even probably beyond residency. I mean, we'll see what happens.
But not all of the matches have involved a spouse. It seems Roanoke is a good place to find different companions. Several from the class of 2017 have pets adopted from the area. A dog or cat makes life more normal when so much of your time is consumed by academics.
Roanoke's been a great place to have a dog. I mean, having the Greenway here, there are always people out with their dogs. Clayton is a little bit overly social, perhaps, but it's nice for him to get out and see some other dogs and sometimes come out to the fields here and get to run around and get some of his energy out. So it's been great in that respect.
Medical school is the place where you lay the foundation to be a good doctor. And at VTC, you don't just learn about the heart and its functions. You can learn about matters of the heart, too.
Well, good evening. I'm Dave Trinkle. I'm the Associate Dean for Community and Culture, and I think we've already heard a lot about the connectedness that our school has and our students has with the city of Roanoke. In the early planning of the school, well before the doors opened, the dean and leadership made a purposeful plan to keep those doors wide open to the community. This was in the spirit of graduating physician thought leaders that were engaged in their community in ways that they personally valued. We regularly bring our community into the school for art openings, mini med schools, and certain student presentations. We also give presentations at science fairs, camps, and nearby K-12 classrooms. The students have been engaged in all these endeavors. In our interprofessional domain, not only do we want our medical students to be able to work on diverse healthcare teams, but we use the curriculum as an opportunity to promote collaborative teamwork and problem solving while working with community organizations through service learning projects. The class of 2017 in particular took this on along with their PA and their nursing colleagues with exceptional vigor and enthusiasm. We had, for instance, the Potato Heads team. Anybody here? Potato Heads? Working at St. John's Youth Program. The Flu Fighters, helping out Angels of Cece. And the Medical Marvels spending a very busy weekend at Camp Easter Sills. And the G7 team working at Westside Elementary, building not just a community garden, but a STEM and nutrition curriculum to go along with it. This is just to name a few. And yes, the teams worked as hard at coming up with their names as they did with their projects. In total, these teams with the class of 2017 put a total of 160 hours of service into our community. As you will see next, however, the class of 2017 pushed this community engagement idea even more and went well beyond what may have been a required curricular activity to ongoing volunteer commitments throughout their 4 years here. The class of 2017 even saw an opportunity to give back a vacation day they would normally have off and to work and establish a day of service in honor of Martin Luther King.
Medical school is a series of sacrifices, social, financial, and, of course, sacrificing that most valuable commodity, time. The class of 2017 decided to dedicate a portion of their free time to worthy causes. One project in particular is the now annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. Students organize service events on this day to give back to Roanoke.
My first year here, we had the day off, but there wasn't really many activities going on, so I thought it would be great to start this day of service with the school. And at that time, I was also thinking about founding the Humanism and Medicine Club, and I thought that tied in really well, because in order to be a better doctor, it's important to really know where your patients come from.
That first year found students prepping beds for a community garden. A year later, on an ice-cold February day, they joined forces with local nonprofit Renovation Alliance to paint and repair a home for a family unable to do that work. This past winter found them again painting and repairing an apartment that a family would soon call home. Teamwork made students who were more comfortable with fluids and scalpels gain skills with paint and hammers.
So it was really nice to see that actual work ethic combined together with someone with a not so big skill set with someone who did have a skill set and has worked with a drill or is proficient with a paintbrush, and just trading tips and secrets on how to achieve something, and it worked out very well.
One of the quotes that always comes up during this day of service is, one of the most important things in life is what can you do for others? And I think that legacy that he has, that's really important for all of us to think about that, not just in the context of, as medical students being in the hospital and serving our patients, but outside of that, what else can we do? Since we are seen as leaders in the community, I think it's important for us to have that broad perspective.
Another beneficiary of student service was Feeding America Southwest Virginia. The local food bank put them to work, packaging meals for local families.
Especially as we're leaving, we want to give back to the community. And so Feeding America was, on board with that.
While these soon-to-be doctors have been taught medical skills, they taught themselves the value of selfless service, that to heal a broken soul with a balm of hope benefits not just the patient, but the physician.
Five years ago, Carilion Clinic and the medical school came together to create the Docs for Morgan basketball game. This event honors the life of Morgan Harrington, the daughter of our own Dr. Dan and Mrs. Jill Harrington. Funds from this game go to support Morgan Scholarship Fund, and each year, 2 scholarships are awarded to 2 VTC medical students. Well, the class of 2017, in similar fashion, wanted to come up with an idea to support a second scholarship, and that's the scholarship for Carolyn Osborne. As you may know, Carolyn was a member of our charter class at VTC and actually attended that first Docs for Morgan basketball game. Little did we know that the next day, Carolyn would be diagnosed with a terminal illness. So this class decided to organize a ping pong tournament, and they've done just that for the last several years to honor Carolyn. And with this tournament, they have supported her scholarship fund, and there's been significant participation each year. So tonight, I'd like to say thank you to the class of 2017 for 2 things. One is recognizing that with teamwork, you can come together to support a great cause. And secondly, for your leadership in this community in which you have served. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 3rd annual Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine's Ping Pong Tournament. This win-to-stay-in championship is rooted in history, playing on makeshift tables, competition for the pure joy of competition.
A long time ago, we just started to play ping pong. Kevin McGurk had a couple paddles, and we started to play up in the PBL rooms. And we slowly migrated down to the commons, and then we just started to play.
A win will stave off elimination. A loss means there's no tomorrow. Today's matchup is a classic. Hokie Harrison Wade, a second-year man out of Blacksburg, looks across the table at one of the most fierce competitors on the circuit, Cinda the Dean Johnson. Either one of these pongers could make a deep run in the postseason, but they have to get past tonight to advance in one of the most demanding tournaments at any medical school in Roanoke. There is a serious reason for this tournament. There's an entry fee to compete, and all those proceeds are donated to the Carolyn Osborne Memorial Scholarship Fund. Carolyn was a member of the founding class of VTC, and she tragically lost her battle with cancer before she could graduate. While this class didn't have the opportunity to know or work with her, they wanted to help keep her memory alive.
So I think it's very important that we remember our own, and that Caroline, she was a member of that very special charter class, and they really have paved the way for all of us coming forward. And so I think it was just appropriate that we would do something in her honor, in her memory, and because it's really that same spirit that she had, that she engaged with her classmates, whether it's in the PBL room or just relaxing, spending some time with them, that we still have that same spirit of camaraderie, and we share that every time we get together and we play.
In the end, it isn't a game or a competition or a win that motivates the class of 2017. It's a desire to honor the past and give to the future.
One more hand to thank all the presenters, the students, the deans. Before we conclude tonight's activities, I welcome Dr. Sid Smith back on stage to share and expand upon another piece of exciting news.
Well, thank you, Cinda. This has been a wonderful evening. And if I might first share a personal story, when I went to Virginia Tech many years ago, there was no medical school, there was no pre-med, but what there was a head of chemical engineering. When I went to him after 2 years and told him I wanted to go to medical school, he said, "We'll create a pre-med curriculum for you. You do that, you do your chemical engineering, and you'll get into medical school." And he taught me a lot about mentorship. I also learned, as you heard from Tim Sands, about service, ut prosum, that I may serve. And so for me, it's been a fantastic opportunity to come back and work with the board at Virginia Tech Carilion. One of my first roles several years ago was to chair the academic committee. And when I showed up, I didn't see a student there. So I talked with Cinda, and I said, Cinda Johnson, said, Dean Johnson, we need a student. Don't worry, we'll have students now from now on the academic committee. And this year's student representative has been Chris McLaughlin, who truly is a model of a physician thought leader and what one can be. So Chris, if you would stand, I would like to recognize you on behalf of the board. Now, to give you an example of just what goes on, we at the academic committee were talking about the importance of advancement, of developing the financial base that we need. It's just an important part of the medical school or any educational institution. And I said to Chris, you know, Chris, it would be wonderful if the students, we're talking about who can give, you know, the grads, the alum, people in the community. What about the students stepping forward and giving themselves? Now, you have to realize at this point in time, it's probably the hardest thing to do to ask a graduating medical student to give money. I mean, they're in debt. They are looking at jobs that will not pay them enough to find a place to live, and many of them are starting families. And I just said to Chris, you know, why don't we do? Chris did not look at me and say, you must be out of your mind. He said, no problem. No problem. We will do it. And so the announcement that I have for you tonight is that the graduating class of 2017 has a gift with 100% participation. So I'd like to ask you, the class of 2017, to now stand and let us recognize your 100% gift. So for anybody who says we can't do it, I'm going to tell them just talk to the class of 2017. And I would love to join you as an honorary member as we move forward in making this an annual event, because I think you have really shown us the way forward, and you've shown us the way forward when the time has not been particularly easy. You've set the bar extraordinarily high. So I want to congratulate you again, very much looking forward to Saturday. And again, thank you very much, Dean Johnson, for the chance to make this wonderful announcement.
It is a love fest, and I have to say that having Dr. Sid Smith as a board chair has meant everything to me. He's been supportive, he's pushed me, we've come up with new ideas, we've done them. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you, Sid, so much. And finally, we'll conclude with Champagne Toast by Chris McLaughlin. You've heard of him now. President of the Class of 2017, and Jonathan Hagmeyer, CEO of Commonwealth Growth Group and member of the VTC SOM Board of Directors. Will you both please come forward?
Well, I am not sure how I'm going to follow that one up, but we're going to try. Thank you very much for that introduction, Dean Johnson. Good evening, classmates, faculty, distinguished community members, and friends. Thank you for being here tonight. Tonight's theme, as many have mentioned before me, is Built to Last, so I figured we would take a step back very quickly and reflect on what exactly it is that we've built. We built a medical school, and not only a medical school, but the Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. We satisfied the LCME requirements, we recruited and trained some of the best faculty in the nation, and we physically, of course, constructed Virginia Tech Carilion, a building made of Hokie stone and Carilion glass. Within this medical school, we built a curriculum, one focused on excellence in basic science, clinical science, research, and interprofessionalism, all the while keeping in perspective the patient-centered nature of the practice of medicine. And for the last 3 years, we watched the first 3 classes come through, graduate, and begin to build their careers. Tonight, it's our turn. We are here to celebrate the 4th and final founding class, which puts the finishing touches on the foundation of this school. Our education and careers, though, weren't the only things that happened to grow in our time in Roanoke. We also found new homes, new hobbies, new favorite restaurants for sure, new mentors and friends, starts to new families. And some of us, of course, as Dr. Knight mentioned, I can cite him now, we're lucky enough to find the loves of our lives here. So we built a medical school, and we've graduated almost 4 classes now, soon to be as of Saturday. But what is it exactly that will make this last? And the answer is pretty simple. What's going to make this last is you. Because of Virginia Tech, because of Carilion Clinic, and the greater Southwest Virginia community that we call home, we are proud to be Virginia Tech's medical school, to serve Carilion Clinic patients and physicians, and to live in the Roanoke Valley. In many ways, the growth of our community has paralleled our own. Roanoke, our medical home, per the guiding principles our class wrote 4 years ago, has truly grown up alongside us. The last 4 years have demonstrated the upward trajectory that Roanoke is not only capable of, but more than worthy of. From the new Virginia Tech School of Neuroscience to the Health Science Technology District, the addition of new departments, incredible new chairs of existing departments, the foundation of the ION building, I could go on. And around us, this evolution continues, from Deschutes to Ballast Point and relocating the major breweries that will fuel medical students of the future, to the inaugural season of the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, to Athens Corner Grill, Mellow Mushroom, and of course, the bridges, which redefine the caffeine habit of many people in the Roanoke Valley. But it is this community, it's everyone here tonight, and your presence everlasting, that is the silent faculty member. The greater Roanoke Valley has played an integral role in our transformation from students to doctors. It is the people we serve that make us Virginia Tech Carilion physicians. Southwest Virginia makes it pretty easy to remember who and what we work for, that we may serve to inspire better health. As we now depart this place to begin our residency training, we are all looking forward to looking back. It is going to be a lot of fun to watch this place continue to grow. Thank you all for making us a part of your story. We look forward to returning someday, which will be made even easier when Amtrak comes to town in the fall. And with that, I'd ask you all to raise your glasses to one another's achievements, the future of our city, the Star City, and to the class of 2017. Thank you all. Hey, congratulations. You know I want that.
I know. Congratulations.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just what a representative of I'm just going to say this, a great human being, you know, seriously, right? Why aren't we hooping and hollering just a little bit more? People are going to become doctors here in a minute, right? I mean, I told my wife I was going to bring Jello shots tonight for our table, you know. I thought, what the heck, and Dr. Wynn at my table. I told her I could get the, quotes go away on Saturday, but Dr. Wynn. We had a great time. We had a great time at the table. But I want to do like a pre-toast before we kind of do a toast. I don't have this quite written out, which my wife reprimands me at times for that. But it's kind of a pre-toast, just kind of get some facts right. One, a baby is not quite as flexible as you may think a baby might be. And I think being doctors, I think we kind of have to get this onto the, just kind of get this out. When they become 16, 17, it's worse than when they were for flexibility. And so I just want to forewarn you as doctors and as parents, that's one. It's a little factual stuff. But before we go into the toast, they're really on a serious factual thing. We took a world-class university and a world-class medical care center, and we built a world-class medical school. This is the medical school in the country. And I say that because 4,000 applicants wanted to sit where you sit today, and 40 of you got to do it. That there is nothing in the country that compares to that. And so just to start out with, you're graduating, you're part of a world-class organization. And in that, and this is all I can tell you from a toast, is this, and I know this might contradict some of your thoughts, but you're never going to do anything great by yourself. That's the one thing I've learned in life. Just you're not. And you're going to go out into the world, and we're going to expect you to make some major decisions. I'm not going to beat around the bush with you guys. I mean, you really are. You're going to make life and death decisions. You're going to do that daily. That's not easy. It's not like we all stand up and go, hey, give me that. But you did. And when you're out there and you know that what it took to make the decision for that 7-year-old who had cancer, or the 63-year-old woman who just needed somebody to hold her hand and pray, and you figured that out, because when you go to make those decisions, there's going to be about 100 hands on your shoulders. These professors, your parents, your teachers, the doctors you worked with, those nurses standing beside you. When you go to make that decision, it's so hard. You could be right, you could be wrong. But you're going to make the best one because those hands are going to be on you. And I toast to you this, you're never going to be alone. Thank you for all you do. Cheers.